former Vice President Mike Pence appears to have started growing a little bit of a spine. Interesting. The 2024 presidential hopeful issued a statement in response to the federal conspiracy charges filed against former President Donald Trump, also formerly his boss, on Tuesday, saying Trump should not be president of the United States. Ooh, damn. Sounds like perhaps Mother finally let him off the chain. Or perhaps, Mother's blessings, whatever. Now, on Wednesday at the Indiana State Fair, he told reporters, quote, "I had hoped it wouldn't come to this. I had hoped the issue and the judgment of the president's actions that day would be left to the American people. Now it's been brought in a criminal indictment. Sadly, the president was surrounded by a group of crackpot lawyers that kept telling him what his itching ears wanted to hear." But wait, okay. Now, itching ears is a biblical term, and it's used to describe individuals who seek out messages and doctrines that condone their own lifestyle, as opposed to adhering to the teachings of the apostles, or in this case, the Constitution. And actually, that's not a bad comparison. Again, if you're going to go old school biblical religious, that's pretty good. And for Pence, that's actually strong. Again, using biblical language to try to, I think, appeal to evangelicals while defending his actions that he's been defending the whole time, to be fair. So, that said, he had more to say. I've got some video of that. Let's take a look.
Irrespective of the indictment, I want the American people to know that I had no right to overturn the election. And then on that day, President Trump asked me to put him over the Constitution. But I chose the Constitution, and I always will. I really do believe that anyone who puts themselves over the Constitution should never be President of the United States. President ultimately, continued to demand that I choose him over the Constitution. And so in this moment, irrespective of how this case plays out, I want the American people to know that I believe with all my heart that by God's grace, I did my duty that day.
Yes, he's correct. He did not have the power to overturn the election. That is not a power given to the vice president, okay? We know that. He knows that. Donald Trump knew that, of course. Now, Trump voters, however, didn't seem to know or didn't seem to care, whichever. We'll get to the response and to the response of former President Donald Trump, who certainly had to weigh in as well. But first, I have another video here from Fox News.
Let's be clear on this point. It wasn't just that they asked for a pause. The president specifically asked me, and his gaggle of crackpot lawyers asked me to literally reject votes, which would have resulted in the issue being turned over to the House of Representatives, and literally chaos would have ensued.
Again, he is not wrong. So, of course, the indictment of Trump says that he and his crackpot associates, I added that last part, first tried to persuade state lawmakers to reject the certification of Biden's win, before then focusing on January 6th and seeking to enlist the vice president to use his ceremonial role at the certification to fraudulently alter the election results. So, basically, Trump was like, Mike Pounds, I want you to just reject certification. You can totally do it. You can do it, and you can make me president again. Have the courage, Mike. Just please do it. No. And he's like, I can't. I literally can't. Trust me, if I could legally get away with it, I probably would do it. But I can't. I literally can't. I'm not going to break the law for you. And that's what it comes down to. So now that also included an effort to persuade Pence to accept slates of fake electors in battleground states won by Biden, to falsely claim that Trump had actually won those states, or to reject states' electoral votes and send them back to the legislatures for further review, which again would be decided apparently by the fake electors. Now, Pence said that he only learned about the fake electors after the fact. I don't know if that's true. That's just what he's saying. That said, Trump responded. He took, of course, to his favorite social media platform.
Truth essential.
Saying this, I feel badly for Mike Pence, who is attracting no crowds, enthusiasm, or loyalty from people who, as a member of the Trump administration, should be loving him. Yeah, I love how he made it about himself. Like, you were a member of my administration. People should love you for that reason alone. Like, again, the guy is so full of himself. Oh my God. But hey, look, it's not like what Trump said right there was a lie either. It just didn't actually address anything that Mike Pence had even said. But yes, Republican voters don't like Mike Pence. They despise him, not because he's wrong about any of this stuff, but it's because the party has become a cult for Trump, and that's it. During his administration, Mike Pence was a high priest. Now he's essentially a Judas. Look at me with those Bible references today. Ooh, wow. Now, Pence, look, he did everything but break the law for Donald Trump, and that tells you exactly who Trump is and what he expects of the people who work for him. He wants people who work under him to break the law for him, and if you don't, then, well, you're a traitor. And still, notice, by the way, that even through all of this, Pence still uses the softballs, okay? He's got the kids' gloves on, and he says, well, Donald Trump, I mean, it was this crackpot lawyer speaking to his ears, and you know how much of a child Donald Trump is. He can't be responsible completely for his actions. No, he is. I would ask, like, let's have the, Republicans stop infantilizing Trump challenge. Okay, yes, he is a man baby, but he's also a man. He's an adult, and he should be treated like an adult. I'm just saying. He knew what he was doing, just like he knew what he was doing during the Capitol riot when he tweeted that Mike Pence did not have the courage to stop the certification. So he tweeted that out to all of his insane fans, especially the ones that were monitoring at the Capitol riot at that time. And exactly 1 minute later, 2:25 p.m., January 6th, Pence had to be evacuated by the Secret Service. You know why? Because the crowd was chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." Members of the crowd said, Where's Pence? Bring him out. Now, what was Trump's response to that? Well, according to testimony from Cassidy Hutchinson, she said, quote, "I remember Pat Cipollone, the White House counsel, saying something to the effect of, Mark, we need to do something more. They're literally calling for the vice president to be effing hung." And Mark had responded something to the effect of, "You heard him, Pat. He thinks," referring to Trump, "Mike deserves it. He doesn't think they're doing anything wrong." So there was the former president of the United States saying, yeah, if the crowd catches Mike Pence and strings him up, well, then I guess he deserves it. They didn't do anything wrong. Wow. So now look, do I want to give Mike Pence credit for doing his job? No. Doing his job is literally what we expect him to do. And yes, he did it. I don't understand why that is super high praise. That said, the backlash for doing what he is expected to do, his job, has led to an extraordinary level of hatred and threats against his life from people who are unhinged. I am not a Mike Pence fan. I do not like the guy. I think he's a right-wing extremist. I was calling him a right-wing extremist way before Donald Trump. But at this point now, Mike Pence actually did a principled thing, which was just to do his job and not do crime on behalf of Donald Trump. And by the way, it was as much for him as it is for the country, and let's be honest about that. Some examples, though, of the threats that he's experienced from Trump fans. There was a post titled "Expletive Mike Pence." I'm assuming it's F Mike Pence. And it was at the top post Wednesday on the online forum, The Donald. Rolling Stone's Tim Dickinson wrote that the top comment on the post, calling for divine retribution against a traitor, reads this, quote, "May God strike him down for his lies and treachery to the American people." They're talking about Mike Pence. They're not talking about Donald Trump, who was the one who lied and tried to overturn an election based on lies. There's more. No, it was Mike Pence who just did his job. He doesn't have the power to, deny the certification of an election. But anyway, there's more. Another user wrote this, quote, "I want to watch his toes dangle in the breeze." I'm pretty sure you know what that's a reference to. Another post detailed yet another hanging fantasy, Jesus, saying, "Make it like an adult version of the pool drop kids play at parties, except you take the shot at a target from 200 yards away. A bullseye releases the trapdoor." So look, that's what Mike Pence is facing right now. It's not just the end of his immediate political career, which I've already said before, his political career in Republican politics is over. It's over. He's done. He'll never break like 3% in the polls. It's not just that, though. You have Republicans threatening to murder him continuously. Look, I'm not saying that I feel bad for him necessarily. Again, he was loyal to Trump up until, January 6th, and he still kind of treats him with kids' gloves and all that. But look, even that, just literally doing your job now as a Republican and standing up against Donald Trump, that gets this reaction from the base. And I think that it's important to use this as an example of just how extreme the Republican electorate has become as a result of Trump.